I once had this girl in my class who loved to tell me all about her pet baby goats. I mean, every day it was about her baby goats. And then one day she said, "Hey, Mr. Muir, do you think I could bring my baby goats into class?" And I'm thinking no. I didn't say it that forcefully. I said, "No, I don't think that's probably a very good idea. I really don't have the ability to give you permission to do that." She said, "Well, who would be able to give me permission?" I said, "Well, you'd probably have to ask the principal, but honestly, I don't think you're going to be able to bring in your baby goats to English class." And she said, "Okay." She kind of walked away dejected. And I was like, "Oh, I feel bad because this girl's so proud of her baby goats. And I would love to let her bring them in, but I didn't really have a principal at that time who was cool with livestock in the classroom." Well, the next day, as I'm teaching, I look towards the door and I see this girl, the same girl, walking in with her mother, and in both of her mother's hands are pet carriers, and each pet carrier contained a baby goat. So I ran to the door and I said, "Oh, hi, can I help you?" And the mom said, "Oh, hi, I'm just here to bring in the goats. That's so cool of you guys to let us do this." I said, "Oh, did you guys get permission to do this?" And she said, "Well, yeah, the principal said it's fine." "She did?" She said, "Yeah, she said I could bring them in." I'm like, "All right, well, let's bust out some baby goats." And so the mom went and opened up the pet carriers, and out came these baby goats. And all my freshmen in high school were running around and picking up these baby goats and putting them up on their desk. And they were walking on textbooks and trying to chew the kids' paper. And I'm like laughing like, holy smokes, there's a bunch of baby goats running around my classroom, and I'm not even gonna get in trouble for it. Well, after about 10 minutes of it, I said, "Okay, we gotta get back to class, but thanks so much for bringing in these goats." And the mom is like, "Thank you. This has been so amazing for my daughter." And so as her daughter goes to pick up one of the baby goats, it wriggles out of her hand and goes running as fast as it can out of my classroom. And I'm like, "Uh-oh, you better go catch it." She's like, "Okay." And so she starts running out of my classroom, and this baby goat's like, "Meh," running through the hallways. And I go and look out the door of my room, and I see my principal walking down the hallway right next to one of our most prominent board members. And all of a sudden, they look down, and a baby goat is running in between them underneath their legs. And my principal screams and jumps, and the board member looks down with this face full of disgust, and the goat keeps running. And as a little girl is walking out of her science class, she says, "Oh, look, a baby goat." And she goes and picks it up, and all of a sudden she screams and throws the goat and goes, "Oh, it's pooping on me." And I look, and the board member looks, and he stares at the principal, and he says, "What kind of school are you running here?" And the goat keeps running, and the principal's like looking around frantically for somebody to do something about it, and her eyes lock with mine, and she said, "What is the meaning of this?" And I'm like, "Oh, somebody catch that baby goat." And finally the girl goes and grabs her goat, and it's wriggling, and at this point all of the classrooms have emptied full of kids into the hallway, and they see this baby goat, and they're all screaming and yelling, and the board member is just stammering in place, and my principal's got her eyes locked with mine. Well, when class was dismissed that day, I got a phone call from the assistant superintendent that he needed to see me immediately. So I marched down to central office, and I sat with him and the principal, and I was given a letter of reprimand put into my permanent file. And it said specifically on my note that I violated a policy and allowed livestock into my classroom. Well, I left that meeting, and my first reaction was like, I'm angry. I didn't give anybody permission to bring baby goats into my classroom. And even if I did, I got in trouble for it. That wasn't even my fault. I told her to put it back in the carrier. But then as I was about halfway back to my classroom, I started thinking about what just happened. Thinking, that was awesome. Now, why do I tell you this story? I've got 3 reasons. 1, sometimes being a teacher is crazy. Sometimes crazy things like this happens. Other times it's just crazy things kids say or do. Maybe it's just the circumstances of the fact that you never saw yourself working with this many kids every single day of your entire life, but you did, and you feel crazy for it. And sometimes it's just a little nuts. My second takeaway, sometimes you just have to learn to laugh at what happens in your classroom. You know, when I walked away from that meeting, my first reaction was like, that's a bunch of BS. I was given permission to do this. Either that mom lied to me or the principal lied, but whatever the case, I didn't say yes to baby goats being in my classroom. And I was angry, and I was steamed up, and I wanted to fight and do something about it. And then I thought about what just happened. little goats were running around my classroom and then busted out the door. And I just had to start laughing about it because it's kind of the funniest thing that's ever happened in my English class. And that's just the case with a lot of what we do in the classroom. Sometimes things are out of our control. Sometimes things don't go the way we want them to. And all you can do is laugh about it. And I found the farther away I got from the event, the harder I've been able to laugh at it. And my third and probably biggest takeaway from all of this is, it's probably best to double check with your principal before you bust out baby goats in English class.